We went through a whole year-long process. In 1982 to 1983, we came up with this concept that nobody would recognize today as what Musikfest was originally designed for. It was very quaint, very modest, and we thought we could do the whole thing for less than $100,000 and attract 100,000 people to downtown Bethlehem. But we went to do this, and we went to the mayor's office, and they had to approve it in order to use city land and city funds and so on. And the mayor held a cabinet meeting, and every member of the cabinet voted no. And the city business administrator said, "This will bankrupt the city if you do it." So they went around the table, and the mayor's administrative assistant, who was a woman named Barbara Caldwell, her husband was the minister at Central Moravian Church at the time, she said, "You know, something's got to happen around here. Why don't you give this kid a chance?" And lo and behold, the mayor overruled the rest of the cabinet and said, "Okay, we're going to try this." And there you go.
And 40 years later, we're still doing Musikfest every single summer. I mean, so I'm sure heading into it, you had some reservations. There's challenges that go into it. But what are your earliest memories of that very first festival in 1984?
Musikfest was always conceived to be about the community, and it needed the community. It needed to be part of the community. And so my earliest memories, and I'm sure that's true for the 40-year volunteers, is that everybody kind of pitched in and worked together. Nobody knew what this was. At the time, there were literally no other festivals that mixed all these different kinds of music together, held them in public spaces for free. Bad business plan, by the way. and you know, everybody just did their thing, and we invented things as we went along. It was pretty incredible, and it's nice that I get a lot of credit, but I got to say, all the volunteers who, in the first year, a lot of the volunteers were FOJs, Friends of Jeff, but they eventually expanded out to many people from the community who wanted to be a part of this and who have really sustained it over the years.
Did you think back then that we'd still be doing Musikfest 40 years later? Was that the long-term plan originally?
That was absolutely the goal. It was supposed to be a community building and tourism project, and we hoped that it would attract people from many different places to come to Bethlehem and see what a neat town we have. Now, the fact that it actually happened is a shocker.
Well, I mean, speaking of shockers, I'm wondering, like, from where it started to where it is now, what are some of the things that surprised you with the evolution of the festival over the years?
Well, what surprised me was how a dedicated team of mostly staff, but volunteers as well, could create inventive ways to use complicated public lands to invite people into an environment where they're enjoying themselves. The most difficult place we ever used was a place we called River Place, which was down along Sand Island in the Lehigh River. And that required all types of animal husbandry and other things that we don't want to discuss anymore. But yes, and I think it was the endurance of this thing and how we've been able to evolve because we were so capable to adapt to these different environments and just keep reinventing. Turns out the genius of the festival, which again I don't take credit for, I was stupid at the time when I said we should do all these different kinds of music, but it turned out to be the thing that saved the festival because, you know, if you just had folk music, which was very popular at the time, or polka music, which was popular at the time, this festival will be gone and over with by now. The brilliance is that we put all kinds of music on the stage. Till to this day, we're capable of changing it to what the community wants, what people enjoy. Every year it changes, which is just fantastic.